Hello and welcome to Rounding to Decimal Places with Mrs. Kirby. First of all, let us have a look at some numbers which have decimals in them. So I've got 1.315, 5.162 and 0.0004. These are all numbers which have decimals in them, and when I'm talking about decimal places, I am talking about the numbers in these positions, and I've underlined them with a highlighter so you can see the numbers I am talking about. These are decimal places, and they are always to the right of the decimal point. You can see here the decimal point in this number is here. The decimal places are to the right. The decimal point is there in that number, and these are the decimal places, and the decimal point is there, and here we've got 4 decimal places, 3 decimal places, 3 decimal places. So the rule that we use when we are rounding to decimal places is here, and it's neatly summarized by saying if the number next door is 5 or more, round up. And it kind of rhymes in a way that only a mathematician would think it did rhyme. If the number next door is 5 or more, so it's not exactly poetry, but if you can try and remember that, the number next door is 5 or more. So let's have a look at an example when we are asked to round to 1 decimal place, and that's usually abbreviated to 1dp. That means we only want to have one number to the right of the decimal point. I'm starting off with the number 7.23. Now when I'm doing rounding and I'm asked to round to 1 decimal place, I always pop a little dotted line in where I want to chop the number off, and then I know exactly which numbers I am looking at. So I am looking at this number here, the 3, to tell me whether the 2 changes or not. I want to write down 7.2 because that would be 1 decimal place, but whether I'm going to write down 7.2 or not depends on what the number to the right of the 2 is. And in this case, the number next door is not 5 or more, so I'm just going to leave it as 7.2. So when I round that to 1 decimal place, it becomes 7.2. And if we look at that on a number line, that might help you visualize what's going on with this rounding to decimal places. If I've got 7.2 here, 7.3 here, and in the middle of that is 7.25. Sometimes it's helpful to think of it as 7.20 or 7.30, and then you've got 20, 25 and 30. And what happens with the 2, 3, so the 2, 3 is somewhere here, 7.23, and if we're rounding to 1 decimal place, it is closer to the 7.2 than it is to the 7.3. Okay, let's try an example with 2 decimal places. So round to 2 decimal places, and exactly the same process applies. So we're going to start off with this number, 3.156. I want to write down 3.15 because that would be my 2 decimal places. These are the numbers I want to write down. I look at the number next to what I want to write down, and that is 6. So that is indeed 5 or more, which tells me I need to change this 5 into a 6. I need to round it up. So to 2 decimal places, this number becomes 3.16. And again, if I look at it on a number line, a little bit more tricky. with 3 decimal places and 2 decimal places, but stick with it. So this is 3.15. This is 3.16, my 2 decimal places. And in the middle of that, so in between the 5 and the 6, halfway between that is 3.155. This is a bit like 150, 160 and 155, which is in the middle. But I'm keeping these to 2 decimal places. My original number, 3.156, is somewhere here. And as we can see on that number line, when I'm just talking about 2 decimal places, it is closer to this end of the 2 decimal places. Hope that helps. Thank you.